The crash and the cry, she clutched her lifeless baby, then begged a human to save her only child. The sky above the empty planet was dark, filled with thick green clouds. It was always quiet here. No birds, no animals. Just wind that whispered, like ghosts through broken buildings. Carter lived alone in one of those buildings, an old human outpost long forgotten by Earth. He wasn't a soldier anymore. Not a doctor either. He was just a man running from the past. He fixed machines, watched the stars, and tried not to think about what he had lost. But that night, something broke the silence. A bright flash tore through the sky. Carter looked up from his small window and saw a fireball crashing fast. The sound hit a moment later, a deep, violent boom that shook the walls. Carter grabbed his jacket and his old scanner, then ran outside. The wind slapped his face cold and sharp. The fireball had crashed just beyond the ridge. Smoke was rising. Something had fallen from space. His boots crunched on the rocky ground as he moved quickly. The scanner in his hand blinked red. Life signs detected. That meant someone was still alive. He ran faster. When he reached the crash site, he stopped cold. A small alien ship was buried halfway into the dirt. Its wings snapped and burning. The metal groaned like it was in pain. Then the ship's door slammed open and a tall figure stumbled out. It was a woman, not human. She had glowing skin, long white hair, and sharp purple eyes. She was bleeding, shaking. In her arms, she carried something small wrapped in silver cloth. A baby. The alien woman looked around wildly, then saw Carter. Her eyes locked on his. She took one step toward him, then fell to her knees. Her voice was raw, broken, filled with terror. Please, human, help her. Carter froze. He had seen pain before, but never like this. She was crying, not just from fear, but from heartbreak. She unwrapped the cloth just enough to show the child's face. The baby wasn't moving. Pale. Still. Too still. Carter dropped beside her, pulling out his scanner. The machine beeped softly as it ran checks. No breath, no pulse. He looked at the mother. Her hands shook as she whispered, "She won't wake up, please." Carter's mind raced. Alien anatomy was different, but a child, no matter the species, deserved a chance. "I'll try," he said, voice steady. He opened his med pack and pulled out tools. Basic things. Oxygen shot, nano patch, pulse stimulator, pulse. He worked fast, heart pounding. The mother never let go of the baby. She just held her closer like her touch could keep death away. Minutes passed. Nothing changed. Then, suddenly, the scanner flickered. One green light. Carter blinked. "Wait, there's something..." He adjusted the stimulator, pressed it again to the baby's chest. A weak sound came. Barely a gasp, but it was real. The alien mother's eyes widened. Her breath caught. "She's alive?" "Barely," Carter said. "But yes, she's here." The mother made a sound, half laugh, half sob. She held her baby tighter, rocking her gently. Carter sat back, shaking. He had done it. He had brought life back. But as he stared at the baby's tiny face, a strange feeling crept into his chest. Her skin glowed faintly, the same color as his blood. "How did she survive?" he asked softly. The alien mother looked at him, eyes heavy with sorrow. "Because of you." Carter didn't understand. "What do you mean?" The woman wiped her tears and said in a whisper, "Your blood, it mixed with hers." His heart dropped. "What?" Before she could answer, his scanner beeped again. A warning. Something in the sky. Carter stood and looked up. Lights. Far. "Off, moving fast, someone's coming," he said. The mother's voice shook. "They followed me." "Who are they?" She closed her eyes. "Those who want her dead." Carter looked at the baby, then at the sky. He had saved her once, but now she needed more than medicine. She needed protection. He took a breath and made a choice. "Come with me," he said. "We're not safe here." The alien mother didn't ask questions. She stood slowly, baby in her arms, and followed him back into the dark. Behind them, the sky lit up again. But this time, it wasn't a crash. It was the beginning of a war. A faint spark. The baby breathed, but the mother's eyes filled with fear. "You shouldn't have done that," she whispered. "Now they'll come for all of us." The night was no longer quiet. Faint red lights blinked in the distant sky. Something was coming. Something fast. Carter held the scanner close to his chest as he and the alien mother moved quickly through the black, broken fields. The wind howled behind them. Smoke from the crash rose higher, giving away their location. Every step felt slower. Every second counted. The baby in Vera's arms, yes, that was her name, he learned, was still breathing, but her breath was shallow. Her small chest rose and fell as if her body was trying to remember how to stay alive. Carter led them through a narrow cave opening under a ridge of rocks. He had discovered the spot weeks ago while searching for salvage parts. It was deep, hidden and invisible from above. Inside, the cold air smelled of minerals and dust. Carter lit a small portable lamp. The light touched the walls, revealing strange carvings, left by explorers long gone. He laid down a blanket on the floor and motioned for Vera to sit. She held her child close, whispering soft words in a language Carter didn't understand. Her eyes never left the baby's face. Carter opened his medkit again. "She's stable for now," he said, "but her body temperature is dropping. And her organs, they're changing." Vera didn't look surprised. Her voice was low. "Because she is no longer fully mine." Carter frowned. "What do you mean?" She hesitated, then finally said, "When you saved her, your blood touched hers. Your medicine carries your cells. It mixed, it healed, but also changed her." Carter's heart beat faster. "You're saying she's part human now?" "Yes. Not fully, but enough for them to sense it." "Who are they?" Vera looked at him, eyes dark. "The guardians of purity. They hunt anything born of more than one kind. They call it a stain on nature, and now they will come for her." Carter stood slowly, the weight of the truth sinking in. He hadn't just saved a life, he had made a new one. A life that should never have existed in their eyes. He paced the small cave, trying to think. "Why did you come here? Why this planet?" She answered quietly, "Because of the stories. The ones that speak of humans who healed, who protected, who loved. I didn't believe them, not at first, but I had no one left. No other chance." Her voice cracked, and Carter saw the pain again. The pain of a mother who had already lost everything and was about to lose the last piece that mattered. "You believed in us?" he asked. She nodded. "I believed in you." Silence fell. Outside, thunder rumbled, but it wasn't a storm. Carter's scanner beeped. He checked the screen. Multiple signals inbound, low orbit. They're scanning the planet. Vera stood quickly, her child still wrapped in her arms. "We must run." "No," Carter said. "Running won't help anymore. They're tracking her, not us." He looked at the baby. Her skin shimmered softly, as if light lived beneath it. Her tiny eyes fluttered open, and for the first time, she looked at him. Not with fear, not with confusion, but with something else. Recognition. "She sees you," Vera whispered. "She knows what you gave her." Carter knelt beside the child. Her hand reached up weakly, touching his wrist. In that moment, he felt a strange warmth spread through his skin, and then the scanner glitched. He pulled back, confused. What was that? The baby's eyes glowed for a second, bright, unnatural, almost too bright to look at. Vera gasped. "She's adapting faster than I feared. She's not just surviving. She's becoming something new." "Is that good or bad?" Carter asked. "I don't know," she said, "but it's dangerous." Suddenly, a loud sound shook the cave, a piercing hum, like a blade cutting the sky. Carter ran outside to the edge of the ridge and saw it. A ship, sleek, dark, and silent, hovering just above the crash site. "They found us," he whispered. The ship released a smaller drone. It flew straight up, then vanished into the clouds. "They're marking this zone," Carter said. They're not searching. They're preparing to strike. Back inside the cave, Vera was singing softly to her baby, a lullaby from her world. But her voice trembled. Carter grabbed his pulse rifle and powered it up. "We can't stay here. We need to move, and fast." Vera looked at him, unsure. "Where?" "There's an abandoned comms tower nearby. If I can boost the signal, I can call for help." "From who?" Carter paused. "I don't know, but someone's got to be listening." He helped her up, took the lead, and started guiding them through the shadows again. Every sound behind them made him turn. Every flash in the sky made him raise his weapon. The baby rested quietly now, but her skin kept glowing, stronger every hour, and somewhere above them the hunters circled, waiting, watching. The child was no longer dying, but now the whole galaxy might want her dead. The price of life. The baby lived, but something inside her had changed, and that change had a cost the galaxy wouldn't forgive. The journey to the abandoned comms tower was long and silent. Carter led the way through dead valleys and broken canyons. His scanner blinked now and then, marking radiation patches, old mines, buried drones, but none of that mattered. The real threat was in the sky. 3 enemy ships now hovered in low orbit. They weren't broadcasting. They weren't trying to talk. They were just watching, waiting. The child was too quiet in Vera's arms. That scared Carter more than anything. She didn't cry, she didn't laugh. She just stared, eyes glowing softly as if she were looking past this world into something else. Carter had seen death before. He had seen children slip away slowly, breath by breath. But this was different. This baby had already died once, and something had brought her back. By the time they reached the tower, the sun was starting to rise. Faint light touched the rocks, turning the gray dust golden. The tower stood like a finger pointing at the sky, tall, rusted, nearly falling apart. Carter climbed first, testing each step of the metal ladder. Vera followed slowly, one arm clutching her child, the other gripping the rungs. At the top, the wind howled louder. Carter kicked open the small hatch and helped them inside. The room was cold and dead. Old screens lined the walls. Dust covered everything. A long-dead power core blinked faint red in the corner. "This used to call half the galaxy," Carter said. "Let's hope she still remembers how." He opened his toolkit and started working. Sparks flew. Wires hissed. The screen glitched, then flickered alive. Vera sat near the wall, rocking the child. Her face was pale. Her hands trembled, not from cold, but from fear. "She's changing," she whispered. Carter glanced back. "What do you mean?" "Her cells. They're growing too fast. She learns too quickly. She remembers things I never told her. It's like something inside her is building a second mind." Carter walked over and looked down at the child. She stared back at him, calm, knowing, too knowing. Then, she did something terrifying. She spoke. A single word. Carter, his blood froze. He looked at Vera. "You told her my name?" "No," she said, eyes wide. "I didn't." The baby blinked slowly, her eyes glowing brighter. Carter stepped back. "This isn't normal." Vera nodded. "She's not just part human now. She's becoming something beyond both of us." A beep came from the console. Carter turned quickly. The system had locked on to a nearby satellite. Connection was possible. He pressed a button and recorded a message. "This is Carter Wells, former medic, Colony 9 Sector. I have an alien infant, partially revived with human tech. She's being hunted. If anyone can hear this, please respond. We need help. Now." He sent the message. Then silence. 5 minutes passed. 10. No response. He sighed, rubbing his face. "We're alone out here." But then, the screen blinked again. A new signal. But it wasn't friendly. Warning. We see the child. Surrender her. She is an error. She is a weapon. Carter stared at the message, hands clenched. Vera stepped forward. They found us. The screen glitched, and a face appeared. A masked figure, eyes glowing red. You have stolen purity from the void, the voice growled. Return the child or be erased. Carter stepped between the screen and the mother. You'll have to erase me first. The voice replied coldly. So be it. The screen went black. Carter turned to Vera. We can't hide anymore. She looked exhausted. Then what do we do? Carter walked over to the window and stared at the rising sun. We fight. But we're only two, she said. He glanced at the baby. No. We're three. And she may be the strongest of us all. Vera said nothing. She just held her daughter closer. Then the baby spoke again. Danger. Coming. Soon. Carter turned, heart pounding. How do you know that? The child looked up, her glowing eyes reflecting the sky. I can hear them. Carter looked at Vera. She's sensing them before the scanner. She's connecting, Vera whispered, not just to us, but to everything. Carter walked to the console, rewired the signal boost, and hit a new command. This time the message was different. To anyone who still believes in life, alien or human, I have a child here. She's not a mistake. She's a miracle. If you can hear me, stand with us. He hit send, then grabbed his rifle and checked the ammo. This wasn't just about saving a baby anymore. It was about protecting what she represented. The price of life wasn't just blood. It was war. Hunted, the galaxy had marked her for death, but one human chose to stand between the killers and the miracle they feared. The tower shook. At first Carter thought it was the wind, but then the lights flickered, the floor trembled beneath his boots, and a deep pulse rolled through the air like thunder without a storm. He grabbed the edge of the console and looked at the screen. Ships, 5 of them now, not small ones, massive armored warcraft designed for orbital strikes. They hovered like vultures above the planet, silent but watching. They're preparing to bomb us, he said. Vera stood by the wall, clutching her baby. They'll destroy everything to erase her. Carter scanned through old files on the tower's systems. 1 defense turret, broken, 2 drone launch pads, no drones. The place was more dead than he feared. He slammed a fist into the wall. We can't. Stay here. Vera nodded, but she was pale. Her body shook. The journey, the fear, the pain. It was catching up. And then the baby cried. Not a weak cry. A powerful, echoing sound that pulsed with energy. Carter turned, stunned. The light from the baby's skin flared. For a moment, the entire room lit up in a warm golden glow. The wind outside stopped, and then his scanner blinked. Lifeform reading, unclassified, energy signal, unstable, warning. She's doing something, Carter whispered. Vera looked down, eyes wide. She's sensing their minds. Across space. Carter stared. How? She's not just alive anymore, Vera said. She's becoming something connected, beyond species, beyond thought. She's hearing fear, hate, and pain. She can feel them? No. She can understand them. Outside the sound returned, a low, growing hum. The lead ship descended, its engines roaring like an angry god. Carter ran to the window. A landing pod dropped from the belly of the warship. It was heading straight toward the tower. They're sending a strike team. He grabbed his rifle, checked the charge, then looked at Vera. I need to get you both out of here. There's nowhere left to run, she said. There's always somewhere, he answered. He led them down the tower's ladder, fast but careful. Below, the wind picked up again. A storm of dust rolled across the plain. As they reached the ground, Carter opened a panel in the tower's base. Behind it was a hidden tunnel, an old maintenance path. Follow me, he said. They slipped inside just as the landing pod hit the dirt behind them. The tunnel was tight and dark. Carter's small wrist light barely lit the path ahead. Pipes ran along the walls. Rust dripped from the ceiling. The smell was sharp and old. Behind them, the echo of footsteps grew louder. The strike team had landed. "They're tracking her signal," Vera said. "They can feel her now, too." The baby stirred again. Her hand reached out and touched the metal wall. For a second, the pipes around them glowed faintly, like she was speaking to the structure itself. "She's connecting to the tower," Carter said. "To the systems. She's adapting." They reached a junction in the tunnel. Two paths. One led back to the surface, the other, deep underground. "We go down," Carter said. "There's an old power facility below. If we make it there, we can trigger a surge. Fry the trackers. Give us time." Vera didn't argue. They moved quickly, but the footsteps above grew louder. More than one. Heavy, fast, trained. Then a hiss. A voice, mechanical and cruel. "We know you are here. Give us the child. You will not be harmed." Carter's jaw clenched. He whispered, "Lies." A light flared behind them. One of the soldiers dropped into the tunnel. Carter fired. The shot struck the figure hard. Sparks flew. It wasn't flesh and blood. It was a machine. A hunter drone shaped like a man but stronger, colder. Another dropped behind it. Carter fired again, but they kept coming. "Run!" he shouted. Vera dashed ahead, holding the child. The baby turned, back once, eyes glowing. Then her glow pulsed sharply. The drone stopped, just for a second, enough for Carter to drop one with a second shot. He followed Vera, heart pounding. They reached the old power facility. The doors groaned open. Inside, everything was dark, except one screen. A green light blinked. Override accepted. Core access enabled. "She did that," Carter whispered. Vera nodded. "She's unlocking old tech, systems not used in decades." Carter ran to the panel and typed in commands. A low hum filled the room. Power surged. Behind them, the tunnel glowed red. Heat signatures from more drones closing in. "Ready?" Carter asked. Vera looked down at her baby. She nodded. "Do it." Carter hit the final command. The lights exploded. A wave of energy burst from the room, burning through every signal, every tracker, every drone frequency. The drones in the tunnel sparked, froze, and dropped. For now, they were safe. But the baby? She began to float just a few inches above Vera's arms, her eyes open, glowing bright gold. "She's changing again," Vera whispered. Carter stepped closer, staring, and in the child's voice, soft, clear, too calm, came a sentence, "No, baby should speak. They're not afraid of me. They're afraid of what I will become." Carter looked up at the dark ceiling of the bunker and knew this was only the beginning. The change the child didn't just survive, she was evolving. And the galaxy's fear was no longer just of death, but of what she might awaken. Carter had seen many strange things during his time in the war. Soldiers stitched together with machines, creatures rebuilt with alien tech, children used as tools by cruel leaders. But nothing prepared him for this. The baby, barely a few days old, was floating. Her body suspended in air, her tiny arms stretched outward, eyes glowing with a steady golden fire. No wires, no tricks, just raw, living energy humming from her skin. Vera backed away, holding a hand to her mouth. "She's not breathing," she whispered. "But she's not dying either." Carter stepped forward slowly. "She's stable. Maybe beyond stable." He scanned her with his medical tool. No heartbeat, no lung activity. Cell activity, accelerated. Neural links, active. Status, unknown. "She's alive in a way the scanner doesn't even recognize," Carter muttered. The baby opened her mouth. A soft hum filled the bunker, like a lullaby but layered with static and whispers. The lights above flickered. Old wires along the wall sparked. A screen on the far end powered on by itself. Words appeared, awaiting instruction. "Central. Network breached, accessing galactic comms," Carter stared. She's hacking their systems. She doesn't know what she's doing, Vera said. Are you sure? He asked. Because that doesn't look like an accident. Suddenly the screen blinked again, this time showing a map, a galaxy-wide network. Hundreds of red dots appeared. Outposts, warships, satellites, and then they turned blue. One by one. She's reaching them, Carter said. She's waking something up. Vera whispered. It's the signal buried in her blood. Yours, mixed with mine. She carries both worlds now. She's more than a child, Carter said, stepping back. She's a key. A key to what? They didn't yet know. Outside, the wind howled louder. Thunder crashed, but there were no clouds. It was the warships, moving, shifting into position above them. The scanner blinked red. Energy weapon charging. Strike imminent. 5 minutes. They're going to destroy the entire area, Carter said. They're done chasing her. Now they'll burn the whole region just to stop her. Then we must leave, Vera said. I agree. But she's not normal anymore. How do we move her? The baby turned her head slowly toward the tunnel. Exit. Then her voice, calm, emotionless, spoke again. I can walk now. And she did. Her feet gently touched the ground. She wobbled for a moment like any newborn, then stood with perfect balance. Not 1 month old, not even 1 week, and already walking. Carter took a step back. This wasn't natural, but somehow it wasn't wrong either. The child pointed toward the surface. There's a place we must go. Where? Carter asked. She closed her eyes, and in a flash, he saw something. Not a memory, but a vision, inside his own mind. A tower of crystal. A forgotten ruin. Hidden far across the wastelands. Beneath it, a chamber humming with power. He gasped and grabbed his head. Vera rushed to his side. What did she do to you? She showed me, Carter said, still shaking. She showed me a place where it all began. She's sharing thoughts now? Vera asked, stunned. She's not a baby anymore, Carter replied. She's a beacon, and that ruin, she thinks it can protect her. Or awaken something worse, Vera whispered. The screen blinked red again. Impact in 3 minutes. Carter looked around. We have to leave now. Suddenly, the ground rumbled. Not from the strike, something below. The baby raised her hand. The floor split open. A hidden platform, long buried under dirt and dust, rose upward. It was ancient. Made of a metal Carter didn't recognize. Engraved with symbols from long-lost languages. What is this? He asked. The baby stepped onto it. It's time, she said. You gave me life. Now I give you escape. Vera stepped onto the platform with her. Carter followed without thinking. The moment all three were on it, the metal disc shot downward. Fast, silent. Light raced past them like stars streaking in a tunnel. Above, the bunker lit up. Then it was gone. The warship's beam vaporized everything. But not them. They were already miles away. The platform stopped inside a deep underground chamber. Glowing walls, strange machines. A dome of light at the center. Carter stared in awe. What is this place? The baby walked to the dome, raised her hands, and the chamber answered. The machines hummed, screens lit up, symbols danced through, the air like fireflies. Something old was waking up. She's activating tech that hasn't run in centuries, Vera said. Carter stepped forward. This isn't just alien. This is pre-galactic, before species even formed empires. The child turned to them. They buried their truth here. They feared what it would do, but I remember, and now you will too. Suddenly, Carter's head filled with images. War, peace, unity, betrayal. A civilization that once tried to bring species together, but failed, because they feared a child like her. A hybrid. A bridge. Carter fell to his knees, overwhelmed. When he looked up, the child's eyes glowed brighter than ever. Not gold, but white. pure, powerful, and in that moment, he understood. She wasn't becoming something new. She was becoming what the galaxy once tried to erase. Hope, living hope. But hope has a price. And outside, those who feared it were already preparing their final strike. Stand with me. The child had awoken something forgotten. Now the galaxy turned its guns toward her, but one human refused to kneel. The underground chamber thrummed with energy. Old machines stirred for the first time in centuries. Lights danced across walls carved with symbols older than any known language. Even the air felt alive, like it remembered what it was made for. Carter stood in the center, heart pounding. The child, this glowing, otherworldly girl who had once been just a lifeless baby in her mother's arms, now stood beneath a beam of light, her arms raised, her eyes glowing pure white. The floor beneath her pulsed with soft energy. She's talking to the whole system, Carter said quietly. This place isn't just a ruin. It's a signal corps. Vera stared, awestruck. Signal corps for what? Carter slowly turned toward her. For every forgotten race, every lost alliance, every rebel satellite left behind after peace was crushed. Vera blinked. She's waking them? She's calling them, Carter said. Above ground, the galaxy stirred. Ships that had long stayed hidden suddenly blinked online. Outposts in exile, on ice moons, jungle planets, drifting ruins, saw the signal. Rogue traders, wanderers, outlaw, tech priest, they all paused as their screens lit up with a message they didn't expect to see. It wasn't in words. It was a feeling, hope, fear, pain. Then, unity, all flowing from one child, and from one man, because Carter's voice followed it. He stood before a long-forgotten galactic transmitter, now glowing and linked to everything, and spoke the words that would ripple across the stars. This is Carter Wells, human, former medic, survivor. You don't know me, you probably don't trust me. But I carry something now, a child, born of two worlds, hunted by all of them. Not because she's evil, not because she's dangerous, but because she's different, and different scares cowards. So they came for her. They burned the ground around her. They tried to erase her before she could walk, but they failed. And now we stand here, not asking for help, calling for allies, because she is the key to a future none of us dared to dream. And if they want her, they'll have to come through me. And if you believe in something more than bloodlines and borders, stand with me. He hit send. Vera's eyes glistened. What if no one answers? Carter looked at the child. She already did. Far above, in the cold silence of orbit, the enemy armada shifted formation. Their leader, a tall being in ceremonial silver armor, stood aboard the flagship's command deck. He watched the signal, watched the ripple, and his face twisted in disgust. She has done it. She has started the rot. He spat. One officer spoke, nervous. Should we engage? The leader nodded. Not just yet. Burn the planet. Wipe out all traces. Send a message. And then fire. Carter's scanner lit up in the chamber. Weapons locked. Planetary strike 2 minutes. Vera screamed, holding the child close. They're going to kill us all. Carter clenched his fists. Not if I can help it. The child looked up at him, her expression strangely calm. They'll destroy this world to stop me, she said softly. Then we destroy their fear. First, Carter replied. He rushed to the core console and pressed a sequence of controls. The beam above the child grew brighter. What are you doing? Vera asked. Amplifying the signal, he said. If they want to erase us, let them. See what they're afraid of first. The child walked calmly to the center of the chamber. Her feet glowed with every step. Symbols along the walls came alive. Circuits long dead sparked with golden light. And then, she lifted off the ground. Her arms stretched out wide. Her glow expanded. Light poured from the chamber, through the tunnels, up into the sky, a pillar of energy that broke through clouds and touched the stars. In the command ship above, alarms screamed. Unknown pulse. An officer shouted, "We've lost control of the weapons." "What?" the commander roared. "She's inside our systems. She's rewriting everything." Across the galaxy, old satellites activated. Exiled ships turned. Hidden warriors watched. Carter's broadcast, and they responded, one by one. Ships began to move, hundreds of small vessels. Rusted but ready, forgotten fleets, old flags, a patchwork of outcasts, nomads, rebel scientists, and warrior monks, all heading for one point. The child had called them, but it was Carter's courage that bound them. Vera collapsed to her knees, tears on her face. "She's no longer just my daughter. She belongs to something bigger now," Carter said. And then, the child floated down, looking at them both. She was glowing brighter now, but the fire was gentle, warm. "Others are coming," she said. "Some to protect, some to destroy, but no one will be able to ignore us anymore." "What happens next?" Carter asked. She tilted her head. "What happens next is the birth of a new galaxy." Outside, the enemy's firepower charged for one final strike. But now they weren't just firing at a runaway hybrid. They were about to declare war on the very future they feared. And Carter? He loaded his rifle, stood beside the child, and smiled. "Let them come. A new star rises." She had once been lifeless in her mother's arms. Now, she stood at the center of a galaxy that trembled in her light. And beside her stood a human who refused to let her fall. The sky was no longer dark. It burned. Above the planet, warships blotted out the stars. An entire armada sent to erase one child. Energy cannons lit up, targeting the surface. Missiles turned in the void. Drones launched like swarms of angry insects. And still, the child stood in silence. She no longer looked like a newborn. She stood tall, small but sure-footed. Her eyes, glowing white gold, reflected everything around her. Fear, anger, hope, and power. Carter stood beside her, weapon in hand. Not to protect her anymore. Now to stand with her. Vera, her mother, rested behind them, too exhausted to move, but her eyes wide with awe. What once was desperation was now something far more painful, pride mixed with sorrow. "She's not a baby," Vera whispered. "She's a new beginning." Carter nodded. "They're scared. Not of her strength, but of what she means." The child looked up at the sky. "They're coming," she said softly. "Yes," Carter replied. "But so are we." The first enemy. Warship fired. A beam of pure plasma screamed down from the heavens. Carter reached for his rifle, but he already knew. He was too late. But the child raised one hand, and the beam stopped. Not blocked. Not deflected. Stopped. The energy unraveled mid-air. Atoms splitting, light bending, time stuttering. The beam simply ceased to exist. The galaxy paused. Every sensor, every screen, every war-hardened captain stared in disbelief. Then the child spoke, not aloud, but through every channel, every signal, every mind. "You tried to destroy me before I could walk. You feared me before I could speak. You hunted me before I knew what I was. But I am here, and I do not hate you. I forgive you. But I will not kneel." Across the galaxy, those who had answered Carter's call began to arrive, not in perfect formation, not in one mighty army, but in waves. A refugee fleet of broken ships, a ring of cloaked warriors from forgotten moons, a band of scientists carrying pre-banned tech, even an old Earth cargo ship, its captain a weathered woman who whispered, "We stand with the child." The rebel fleets faced the armada. The numbers weren't equal, not even close. But something shifted. For the first time in centuries, the Empire hesitated. In the enemy flagship, the commander clenched his jaw. "She's awakening minds," he hissed. "Even ours. Even mine." He reached for the override key to begin the Oblivion Protocol, the destruction of the entire planet. But his hand froze. The officer next to him was staring at a screen. tears in her eyes. My daughter died because of what we did to people like her, the officer said softly. And then, she turned her weapon. The flagship lit with chaos. Mutiny had begun. Below, the child turned to Carter. Is this what it means, to be human? She asked. No, Carter said. It's what it means to choose, and you've given them a reason to make that choice. The child stepped forward and opened her arms. Waves of light burst out, across ships, mines, weapons. Not to attack, to connect, to show them not just power but memory. Her memory of pain, of death, of fear, but also of being cradled in her mother's arms, of being saved by Carter's hands, of rising from death. She showed them life, and something broke. Across enemy fleets, weapons powered down, one by one, even those who hated. Her gun couldn't resist what they saw. They didn't surrender to force. They surrendered to truth. The commander, now held at gunpoint by his own crew, whispered one final time, "She is not the end." "No," his officer said. "She's the answer we've all been afraid to ask." Later, when the fires died down, when the warships left in peace, when the stars quieted again, Carter sat under the sky with Vera and the child. She no longer glowed so brightly. She looked tired, human almost. "Will they come again?" Vera asked. "Maybe," Carter said, "but not for war." She changed everything. Carter smiled. She made them feel something they forgot. Hope. The child leaned her head on his shoulder. "Thank you, Carter," she whispered. He looked down at her. This miracle he had once revived with a desperate hand and a medic's heart. "You don't owe me anything," he said. "I owe you everything," she replied. And then she looked up at the stars. They used to belong to the powerful. Now, maybe they belong to all of us.